Great. And look, this is really relevant to sort of the community that I work in. And Tim, obviously you worked for EY as a consultant in strategy yourself years ago. So you'll probably know that, you know, many of the consultants or strategy consultants or people from the consulting background often aspire to be more entrepreneurial or to run a sort of a P&L, but often they find it hard to be the strongest candidate for a C-suite role or big operational roles without sort of prior experience running a P&L. So obviously it can be quite frustrating for them. But in theory, say a graduate, say with no prior experience of running a business, can actually become a CEO in a relatively short space of time. Is that right?
It is, and I think there's a couple of really important factors to that. The first is we are not talking about buying mega businesses. The businesses we're talking about buying might have revenues between, say, $10 and $30 million and earnings before interest and tax, depreciation and amortization, and maybe between 2 and 5 million. So they're not huge businesses. And secondly, the nature of the businesses that we try to persuade these guys to look at is businesses with quite high recurring revenue, businesses that are very stable, that have had a long history of profitable growth. And in essence, they're something that you don't need a very experienced pair of hands to take over from, that makes some sense to get into. The last one we settled on, for example, was a commercial landscaping business where more than 80% of its revenue was contracted to local councils and housing associations. And the two guys who came into that business as joint CEO are young MBA graduates, but we felt very confident that they had the skills required to lead that business.
So in terms of baseline experience, I mean, are there any requirements? I mean, can anyone do this?
I think that if someone is too young, they may have some leadership issues. They're going to come into a business that might have 40 or 60 or 100 staff. Just a little bit hard if they're super young to do that. Obviously, there are some exceptions. Traditionally, particularly in the United States and Europe, there's been a strong orientation towards people who've done an MBA and are looking to pivot their career. But I think that I would expect that a good age for people to be doing this would be probably in the period between their early 30s and their early 40s.
You feel that someone could do this at any stage in their career?
Yes, yeah. And I think that there are people who may have had very traditional careers in the military or somewhere or other who are coming out of their career towards the end of it, who are perhaps in their middle 50s and are saying, you know what, I would like to be the CEO, I would like to earn an equity interest in a business, I really want to do this. And so I think, yeah, there's got a very wide age range.